Anybody got anything else?
Dabo, early on Saturday afternoon, when it's Tennessee 7-0 in Oregon and the Johnny football's up 14-0, did you think top-ranked Tigers coming?
No. I really don't. I don't think that way. I mean, and even if that happens, what does that mean? If Tennessee had beaten Oregon and Texas A&M beat Alabama, and what does that mean? I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Who knows? I mean, it's like, we don't know that Alabama's the number one team in the country. Who knows? I mean, right now what they've done is they've taken their show on the road and they held serve. So it's kind of in everybody else's court now. And that's the way it is. It's a race to the end of the deal here. I mean, we're in good position, but we're just kind of getting in that first curve. We got a long way to go. Those people with those tickets for Clemson, they don't need to be dancing in the seats quite yet. We got a long way to go. A long way to go. We're not a great football team right now. I mean, maybe we will be. But it'll all play itself out. That's why you play the games. But that is the last thing on my mind. But I enjoyed watching the games. I really did. I enjoyed, watching all the different things. It's not often that I get a Saturday to just sit around and, even when we're playing on Saturday, you might get a snippet here and a snippet there, but we don't get much time to watch a lot of TV. You see the highlights and maybe a game here or there, but that was pretty neat. Had a good time. Ate too much, but it was fun.
Well, when you mentioned before the Georgia game, you were talking about the idea philosophically of building a schedule that gives you the resume, assuming you get everything done, that puts you in the right conversation. Do you have confidence right now that as your schedule stands this season, that if you ran the table, you'd be there?
Are you kidding me? With the teams we play, no doubt about it. Listen, NC State, this team we're getting ready to play, they're going to prove to be one of the better teams in this conference. They're going to win a bunch of games. They really are. I mean, we've got several teams in this conference that I think is going to surprise some people this year. It's going to be very competitive. It's going to be a challenge. Every single week, it is going to be a challenge, and that's why you just can't overlook anybody. You got to put everything you got into each week, and then when you get the result, you reload and you put everything into that next one. It's hard to go undefeated. It's hard. I mean, that's our goal. We want to win them all, but it's hard to do. I mean, it's a very hard thing to do. Not many teams can pull that off. Just look at the history of college football. How many undefeated national champions have we had in the last however many years? It's hard because everybody's got good players. The way college football is now with scholarships and all that kind of stuff, it's a tough thing to do. It's the same thing in the NFL. I mean, that's why you lose a game. I mean, go to the next one. Let's see where you are. But everybody is jockeying, and that's what I think makes college football fun, is because every game is like a playoff game. Every game. It really is. So we'll see how it all plays, but our schedule certainly gives us the opportunity to compete at the highest level. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, well, you said you watched games on Saturday. Are defenses now in college football just so hamstrung because of all these tempo offenses around? It seems like the tempo style offense is really taking hold, and even Texas A&M and Alabama are putting up, close to 100 points between them.
I don't know if hamstrung is the right word. Offenses don't work if you don't have good players. You still got, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can go fast and have 3 and out real fast. And, it doesn't work. I mean, tempos are great when you're putting first downs together and all that kind of stuff, but it all goes back to good players. Texas A&M's really, really good. I mean, they got Johnny football. I mean, they got guys. This is crazy. They put 600 yards up on Alabama. It's not because they're tempo. It's because they got a bunch of good players that know what they're doing and they can execute their scheme at a high level. That wide out, they ain't covered that guy yet. 15 or 13, whatever. Jiminy crickets. So it comes down to executing plays. The tempo had nothing to do with a guy playing man-to-man coverage. It had nothing to do with it. I mean, they just, hey, you're one-on-one. That's who they are. That's what Alabama does. Hey, you're good enough to beat me, beat me. And, that guy had almost 300 yards receiving. So, tempo had nothing to do with it. It came down to, hey, this guy was better than that guy. And that quarterback could make the throws that needed to be made because that's what was presenting. Alabama's winning on offense because that's what was presented to them. And they got everybody in the box, man to man. All right, let's see if you can win. And they weren't able to get it done, but they made enough big plays to keep them in the game. As it came down to it, Alabama's offense was more consistent, didn't turn the ball over, and made a few more plays. That's just football. I don't. All the other stuff is fun to talk about, but I think it all goes down to execution, regardless of what you do. Georgia Tech scored, I don't know how many points they've scored in the first 2 games, a bunch, and they run the triple option. But they know what they're doing, and they're going to score on everybody. As long as they got people that can execute their system, they're going to score. So it comes down to, again, execution, getting, guys making plays, guys getting off blocks, guys making tackles, guys being disciplined with their assignments. The tempo stuff for us is good because of the way we're built. We got a lot of speed. We got a lot of playmakers. We got guys that can make plays in space. So you create that space, you get guys the ball, they make plays in space, then you press that tempo, then it adds to it. But if you're not executing well, if you don't have the players to run it, you're just doing a lot of punting and probably getting beat bad.
Now that we've seen a case of the 15-yard penalty assessed after a hit was after no targeting upon review, what?
That doesn't make any sense, does it? It's a rule we got to live with. You understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to really emphasize the safety of the game, and I assume you're talking about the play in the Alabama-Texas A&M game, but that was not a flagrant throw a guy out of a game type of deal. But the way the rule is right now, even though they take it back, they still assess the penalty, which it doesn't make any sense, but that's the way the rule is. And so we just have to live with it. But it's all, I think, just geared toward really putting a heavy emphasis on player safety. But, yeah, that's one that that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Was it ever explained why they can overturn the ejection but not the penalty?
It was explained, but you can imagine everybody in the room's reaction. A bunch of coaches sitting there going, all right, whatever. And so it is what it is. That's the rule that they got in place. And at the end of the day, I'm still glad they got the rule. Hey, give me the 15, but don't throw my guy out, for something like that. So it's kind of all right, we're taking this back, but it's kind of a warning. Slow it down.
Would you anticipate that evolving over time?
I think so. I think everything gets addressed, as when you put things out there and you really try it on, there's always kinks that you got to work out before you really get it right. And I think that's the case here. But again, it's all predicated toward player safety. So, the game of football is as safe as it's ever been at any time, ever. And I think they've done a good job with a lot of the rules and all that kind of stuff without sacrificing the essence of football. Some may really still argue against that, but that's all they're trying to do. And I think it's had an effect. I think people are conscious of it. Like I said, we don't really coach anything different because we've never coached targeting or, hitting guys above the heads, but you are more conscious of, listen, this is a defenseless player. Not seeing some of those situations that maybe you saw in the past with guys just getting taken out, crackbacks and things like that. Some of that stuff has been cleaned up, and that's good.
Anything else? Thank you, Coach.
All right. See you on Rob.
I'm going to Goober.